Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs says an entire generation of children in Gaza could be scarred for life by Israel's war and humanitarian crisis there. Palestinian health officials in the Gaza Strip say Israeli strikes killed at least 11 people overnight. A family of 3 was killed in the built-up Barrage refugee camp. 8 police officers were hit in the central town of Deir al-Balah. Palestinian officials have applied to join South Africa's case before the International Court of Justice, accusing Israel of genocide in Gaza. The request, published Monday, says Israel's ongoing military operation is part of a, quote, systematic effort to wipe Palestinian society and its culture and social institutions from the map, unquote. South Africa filed its case with the International Court of Justice late last year, accusing Israel of breaching the Genocide Convention and its military assault that's laid waste to large swaths of Gaza. Israel denies it's committing genocide. The High Court last month ordered Israel to stop its offensive in Rafah, an order Israel continues to flout. Meanwhile, the U.S. is urging the United Nations Security Council to support a 3-phase plan to end the war in Gaza that President Joe Biden announced Friday. It would free hostages, boost aid into the devastated territory, and support reconstruction of the Gaza Strip. U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield says the U.S. circulated a draft proposal Monday to 14 other council members. The Israeli military confirmed the deaths of 4 more hostages held by Hamas after its October 7th attack in southern Israel, which spurred the war on Gaza. Among the dead, 3 older men seen in a Hamas video begging for their release. Vermont Independent Senator Bernie Sanders says he will not attend Israel's Prime Minister's address before Congress. Democratic and Republican leaders have announced Benjamin Netanyahu will address a joint meeting. Sanders, a progressive Jewish senator, called Netanyahu a war criminal on social media Saturday. Protests against the war in Gaza continue. In California, San Francisco police arrested 70 protesters who entered and occupied a building housing the Israeli consulate for the Pacific Northwest. Ben Klein reports.
Margot, who preferred to only use her first name, said her Jewish identity made her feel morally compelled to protest Israel.
As a Jewish person who is the daughter and granddaughter of Holocaust survivors, using my identity, my history, and weaponizing that to try to justify another genocide is absolutely shakes me to my core and sickens me.
Abigail Buehler, spokesperson for the Israeli consulate, in a statement, she referred to the demonstrators as, quote, pro-Hamas rioters, unquote. She said the protesters attempted to, quote, violently compromise our ability to operate as a diplomatic mission. According to SFPD, however, the protest was peaceful and there were no injuries. I'm Ben Klein.
Votes are being counted for the world's largest election, which wrapped up Saturday in India. Early results show Prime Minister Narendra Modi's coalition leading in a majority of seats. Modi and his allies face a stronger challenge from the opposition than expected. The opposition pushed back against the leader's mixed economic record and polarizing politics. During his 10 years in office, the nation has experienced rising unemployment, attacks against minorities, particularly Muslims, and a shrinking space for dissent. Preliminary results, though, show Modi still has support from the majority Hindu population. The White House is telling U.S. lawmakers President Biden's preparing to sign off on an executive order that would shut down entries to the U.S.-Mexico border once the number of daily encounters hits 2,500 between points of entry. Because daily figures are currently higher than that now, Biden's order would immediately close the border to migrants seeking asylum. Immigrant rights advocates are blasting the move, noting it's the same strategy Donald Trump used and failed in court by invoking Section 212F of the Immigration and Nationality Act. Lawsuits are expected. Sarah Rich with the Southern Poverty Law Center said in a statement, the decision by this administration to criminalize migrants, many of whom are fleeing harm, is deeply disturbing and misguided. We have witnessed how such prosecutions can be weaponized to separate and traumatize immigrant families, Rich said with the Southern Poverty Law Center. The House Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic called Dr. Anthony Fauci to testify Monday, where he faced grilling from Republican lawmakers in a 3-hour hearing who peddled conspiracy theories against him. Christopher Martinez reports.
Marjorie Taylor Greene is a Republican from Georgia.
We should be writing a criminal referral because you should be prosecuted for crimes against humanity. You belong in prison, Dr. Fauci.
Robert Garcia is a Democrat from California.
Dr. Fauci, I am so sorry you just had to sit through that. That was completely irresponsible. Quite frankly, we're hearing this might be the most insane hearing I've actually attended.
Democrat Jamie Raskin of Maryland also spoke in Fauci's defense.
You've been a scientist and a scientific administrator for 54 years. Is that right? More than a half century?
Raskin took aim at what he describes as runaway political rhetoric from the Republican members.
The people bowing down to a twice-impeached, convicted felon who told Americans to inject themselves with bleach now want you to believe not only a big political lie, but a big medical lie, too.
Democratic House members held their own news conference before the hearing started. There, they announced a new report that they say debunks claims that Fauci funded research that created the coronavirus, or that he hid evidence of the virus originating in a laboratory, among other claims. Democrat Debbie Dingell of Michigan.
We need to be working together. Public trust in public health is the foundation of safety for this country. Political games is destroying that public trust.
I'm Christopher Martinez.
Chinese and Hong Kong authorities have arrested or put under surveillance several dissidents ahead of the anniversary of the Tiananmen Square this week. Today will be 35 years since Chinese soldiers shut down a weeks-long peaceful protest with violence, killing several hundred to several thousand people. I'm Christina Onnested reporting for Pacifica Radio.